What's happening, Watch Panda? Speeder Von Panda here. Hey, just picked up another watch, or I didn't pick it up, but it's on loan to me, actually, from the guys at BOLDR, because we've taken a look at some of the boulders, and they are hooking us up temporarily with a watch to take a peek at, and I'm pretty excited. This one's called the BOLDR Expedition. I don't think it's out yet. It's kind of available for pre-order. It looks like I'm getting a lot of reflection of my umbrella lights here, so I apologize for that. But as you can see here, just another home run from BOLDR. It's almost passe for me to say that I like it, because they just do a great job of making what seems like a great quality watch, and with great execution. So first thing, before we get to the watch part, I want to show you that it has like this canvas strap. It's in black. It has a little bit of weathering. That may be because it's on a tour, Time to Go travel, and timepieces, Chris Marshall, Aaron Dunlop, of course, Scott at Watches Galore, are all going to check this out, I believe. So, it's been handled by people, and yet just looks like it is right out of the box. Kind of this matte finish black buckle up here, a little bit wide and kind of meaty, which is nice that they put on a substantial buckle, kind of a little bit like a Panerai style. I really like the canvas bands. They just kind of make things look a little more like outdoor orienteering type of band. As you can see here, the underside BOLDR is emblazoned there, and it has like a leather backing, so that should feel really good on your wrist. I actually like that they have a couple of cross-stitched black stitches on there to kind of hold it together, but also just kind of breaks up the pattern a little bit. As you can see here, maybe there, the band tapers just a smidge, kind of from end to end, it looks like. On this end, the same thing, but I do like these black metal grommets in there to kind of keep things from fraying, and then a rounded tip, and then the back is very much the same. Just high quality strap all around. Now, I want to show you the case here. Obviously it is a 3/16 stainless steel with an IPB like diamond-like coating on this one, at least on the black model. Now, I do think they will have a couple of color variations to this. So obviously this is a little black, and there's a couple of kind of two-tone color, but just really good looking. I mean, like I said, this one hasn't been babied because it's going to a number of people here, but as you can see, that coating is holding up very nicely. And look, it's 0 out of 0. So technically, this watch doesn't even exist. It doesn't exist. And then you can see here, I believe it's a double domed sapphire crystal, and you can see how it's curved up there. It rises a little bit above the bezel here, but it has a nice kind of finish. It meets very nicely. It kind of has the same angle, so everything rolls together really, really well. And then obviously what you saw here were kind of like tactical style knurling on the two crowns, and there isn't a crown at the 3 o'clock position. It's like a 2 and a 4 o'clock, and so you have these two offset crowns, one which has this like orange ring with it, this like enamel colored ring in the center, and then on the bezel, and that's to help you identify what they do. We'll talk a little bit about that. One's for time, one's for controlling the inner bezel, but we'll get to that in a second here. Then I want to show you on the back, again, I think it's a sapphire crystal. Now, the movement you're seeing here, even though it's like pretty well finished with the BOLDR logo on the rotor here, 24 jewels, you can see here it says NH35A. This is not, as I understand it, the movement that's going to come with this. So, keep that in mind. I'm sure, I think this one is a fine movement, but one of the things that I think is going to happen is I think it goes to a Salida movement, SW200, 28,800 beats per hour, with the 26 joules with hacking seconds. So you will get a Swiss movement in this, but it won't be this one, even though, I'm showing it to you. So pre-production model, just keep that in mind. Sapphire glass. I do like the fact that this back is kind of like bead blasted too. It's just kind of cool looking, even though you'll really never see it. And then I'm assuming that you can see here we have like some etching on, it looks like the underside of the crystal looks like topography. So it looks like you have kind of a elevation map kind of etched in there, which kind of speaks to its outdoor orienteering type of focus. So that's pretty cool too. Now let's take a look at the business side of this thing. And again, I think you and I probably can agree that this is a nice looking watch. It actually kind of reminds me of some other watches that I've been hoping to look at before. Kind of reminds me of the Runwell Contrast Chrono from Shinola. It's just simple. It's a little bit of a vintage style. Nice clean look, and yet really, really attractive. So what we have here is this outer chapter ring. You can see it kind of is like has a little bit of a kick. It's like a flat outer piece, and then it has like a bezel that drops down inward, and you have minute markings along the outside of that ring, but on the inner portion of the ring you have compass rose points, so south, west, north, and east, with a marker there from the north. I haven't played with this at all, so I think this generally would be up at the 12 o'clock position. We're going to show you that, and that's for a reason, kind of a survival reason, and then a black dial with superluminova. Now, I do believe that this has two types of superluminova, so in the dark we should get two types of glow. So I'm going to take a look at that in the dark. We'll roll that footage in here, but I really like the two types of glow in the dark treatments on watches. I just think it gives such a nice look. The Spinnaker watch that we recently looked at had that too, and it's just really cool. It gives you really good low light visibility, as well as just kind of helps draw your eye in and kind of differentiate things. Obviously we do that with color on a watch, but in the dark it's kind of harder. Everything looks the same, so it kind of helps, I think, in a lot of ways. It's not just for style to have two tones of luminescence there. So black there, you can see the luminescence on kind of the odd hour markers, the even Arabic numerals there, and then the hands are kind of a block style hands here with superluminova, all just kind of in a brushed metal, like a bead blasted metal, including the second hand. What I actually think these things look like, and I kind of want to start getting people to agree with me on this, is kind of looks like a stock trader's chart. So if you look at what we call the candlesticks, you look at stock movement throughout the day, there's kind of a little hash mark at different time periods, and then they put a block inside that hash mark, kind of showing you them, the open and close price, as well as the kind of the spikes, the highs and lows for that time period. So anyway, I'm just going to start calling it a stock trader's chart hand. There you go. It's going to be a thing. Expedition automatic, 200 meter water resistant, so it's truly water resistant. The date window here at the 4 o'clock position, white dial with surrounded by a white frame there. And so now let's get to the meaty portion of the watch here. So I'm gonna unscrew this dial the crown right here. Pops out, and I'm gonna pull it out once here and see what we get. Yeah, I gotta pull it out there. Okay, here we go. We've got cool logo. I like it. I'm gonna frame that out there. So we can change the time here, and then I think that might be the only position now. Function might be just slightly different on the end, what ends up being the production movement. I think it should be roughly the same. So if I push it in there, I can feel us winding. This one obviously has a hacking seconds to it, kind of like that orange on the candlestick right there. But let me see if I can just pull it out once here. I'm not sure if we can. There we go. Counterclockwise rotation in the first position. It changes the date on this. So let's just go ahead and roll this back in, screw down the crown here, because we kind of got the point on that. And let me go up here to this crown, which is marked in orange, and this is because this is kind of your emergency crown, I think. So I'm gonna think this is screw down as well. So yep, screw down, pops out, and now you can see we're rotating that inner or that outer bezel, I should say, but it's inside the watch, and we can, I can line up that north there for my OCD folks. But this is really for kind of counting down time. For one, you can move it to the minute here. Let's say I wanted to, count off 10 minutes. I could just turn the north right to that minute hand, and now I know, starting now, it kind of works like a chronograph or a countdown timer, maybe in some ways. That as this checks off, I can keep watching it to the 10-minute mark. Now, the other thing you can do, and I may have this wrong, so you guys, you outdoor survivalists, can correct me on it, but there is also a way, I think in the northern hemisphere, that you find true north by using the sun, usually a stick, to split the hour and the minute hand distance. So, if you were to point the noon towards the sun, and then kind of use something to bifurcate the angle here, that would give you generally north. I may have just slaughtered that, but that's okay, because you found it here on the internet, and everything on the internet is true. So anyway, I really like this. The case size on this is only a 41 millimeter. It's only 14.5 millimeters thick. So it's actually a fairly, I'll call it a modest sized watch. despite the fact that you might say like 41 millimeters, it's huge, but 41 millimeters to me is not huge. And I think it looks like it's going to be a limited edition of some sort, because looks like they're going to laser engrave the number there. But look at that on my watch, man. That's pretty nice. I dig it. I like the height too. Like I said, 41 tends to get maybe just on the size that's, the smallest end of the size range that I would wear, but I think this looks good. At this size, I also think it looks good with this height, particularly with this height, and even in black, which tends to kind of shrink visually the size of a watch down. I think, this is fantastic. I like the little things, and I do like that little splash of like orange on that that crown. I can't remember, Edox, I think those watches, kind of have like an anodized pusher on some of those watches, and it's just kind of cool. I've never owned an Edox, but it's just kind of one of those things that you appreciate, and I definitely like it on here. So pretty awesome. I think it's pretty nice looking, and man, I can't tell you how much it's going to go for right now, but check out the BOLDR Watches website and definitely sign up. I think this is going to be a nice watch for a lot of peeps out there. Peter Von Panda with the BOLDR Expedition out.